Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been
How
good,
have we
dude.
been?
Phenomenal. How have we been, dude? We've been a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. So you're myself and Blair are fresh off a bachelor party trip where we won. I think a lot of people go to Colombia and lose, right? I think we won this trip. We did it right. So yeah, man, I'm feeling great. I feel also a little run down. Like, how are you feeling like 3 or 4 days removed from all the craziness?
I actually feel good now. I think the first couple of days were rough. A lot of it was due to just returning to work,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
never fun, no matter how tame your weekend was. But right now, I'm feeling, I'd say 95% back to normal. I just have to get back into the gym because I haven't had motivation to do that during the week.
okay, so that's like the only thing I've been doing. So maybe that's also adding to me still feeling run down because like I don't think I've ever been able to get back to like 90, 100 because like I'm at 70 then going to the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel good though, man. It was a great trip. Blair just did a phenomenal job editing the bachelor party video that's allowed for social media. So appreciate that. We'll tag the podcast on the TikTok one so you guys can see that as a repost. But yeah, man, dude, great trip. I mean, dude, we haven't been on the pod since a little bit before Thanksgiving, so I know it's been a minute, but bachelor party, bro. I already obviously have my takes. We'll get into it. Obviously, it was my bachelor party, but as a guest of honor as well, how did you feel going back to essentially the same vibes or same places that we did last time, but a little bit different now?
For me, honestly, I wasn't really concerned about the itinerary being similar just because I know one, it's a relatively short trip. So kind of like Vegas, you could do it 100 times. And as long as the group is good, it's going to
Sure.
be a vibe, even if, you're just drinking at the same spots or whatever. So as the guest, I think for me, what was rewarding was meeting your friends. Had no doubts I would have fun with them, but obviously I hadn't met most of them. So my excitement didn't fully kick in until we got to the airport. And then we're all like, all right, let's grab a mimosa or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, all right, this is for sure gonna be a vibe. And that's when like peak adrenaline started for me, like in terms of the trip. But I feel like we did enough different stuff like dinner. The ceviche still hands down a highlight dish for me. Um, the different clubs. I think it was just I think that the group is what made the experience worthwhile because it was just completely different, and I think that was fun. And also, like as an introvert, sometimes it's nice to not have the full focus on me. So I think
Sure.
that was an added plus.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with all that, dude. I think it was a very good group. I didn't have doubts about that, but until you travel with different people, you never really know, right? So like even I had my doubts. I'm like, bro, is this guy gonna vibe with that guy? Is this guy gonna be too much in his shell? Is this guy gonna be too over the top? Like I don't know. But I think for the most part, bro, like it gelled wonderfully. I thought the weather, dude, apparently 65 degrees in Colombia means 95 degrees everywhere else. So that was a good surprise. We had to deal with Carol G's concert almost ruining the entire bachelor party festivities, but we survived that. And yeah, I think we did enough different stuff, but you and I felt very comfortable in those settings, if I could speak for you, because again, we were aware of the places, right? Even if we didn't do the
Yeah.
same exact thing. So yeah, man, I had a phenomenal time, bro. I couldn't be more grateful for you, the other seven guys who showed up. Shout out to my other boy whose visa did not allow him to get in the country, but that's for a Patreon episode to get into all that bullshit. But no, dude, again, I came back feeling super grateful. We even said I made a little toast on the after the midway point of the second day on the boat that we had. Like, if the trip ended that afternoon, dude, that's fucking 2 days of my life. And then we had an extra night to enjoy. So yeah, man, super grateful to you, the whole crew, for making that amazing. And again, the video was just a nice reminder for us to always have. So I definitely appreciate all the content you captured on the trip.
Yes, sir. No, I'm glad the content worked out perfectly. And it's nice that we get to relive those moments very, very easily within, 1 minute clip.
Correct. Correct. Dude, yeah, dude, a minute and 13 seconds, best
Yeah.
fucking time of our lives. Encapsulated that, dude, phenomenal. So best part of the trip for me, I would say specifically though, I would say the boat was the best part for me. So just to give you guys, I guess, context before you guys see the video yourselves, if you go to the Audio Theory YouTube page or sorry, TikTok page, it's essentially just a pontoon boat around a lake 2 hours outside of Medellin. We're surrounded by $1 million houses, and it's just 8 guys, our concierge desk person, and the boat driver. And we're wasted blasting essentially Afro house music for 3 hours. And you would think we discovered like utopia or something, bro. Like everyone was just so happy and immediately, bro. Because I feel like I've been on plenty of, again, only because I'm from South Florida, not because like I'm rich or anything, but there's like always like at least 2 or 3 boat rides a year that you do. And there's always that awkwardness like the first hour, not because of the group, just of like, all right, like, are we like, what are we meant to do now? Like, we're not swimming. Do we like just get drunk? Do we talk for a little bit before we get drunk? So it was like nice, like the moment we left the air we got picked up in, it was just like vibes immediately. So for me, that was my favorite part, because from that led to a great van ride home that we vibed out, like it was just like, I feel like that was like almost like we thought that was the peak, and that led to even more great things happening after that. So that was like a nice surprise, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I would have to agree. I think that was a highlight. And it kind of forced all of us to bond, had a great conversation with all your friends in various moments. And then the ride back with the sunset, I think at that point we were pretty lit and like excited for the night's festivities. Fortunately had enough energy. I think that's always a concern, because we start relatively early. Well,
Yeah.
I guess not necessarily this time, but in any case, when you're day drinking, it's very easy to be tapped out at like 4
tapped
or whatever.
out.
But
like, yo, but back, you brought up Vegas earlier, but like that's almost like the Vegas like rule, right? Like, yo, if you do a day party, you can't also go and do a fucking nightclub, right? It's either or. And I feel like somehow we had enough energy to do both. So that was dope.
100%. Yeah. Beautiful day.
Nice, dude. So what came up on the trip that was honestly that could help on the pod as far as topics? Oh, I think a good one at one of the rooftops we went to is that we were talking about Drake. We'll get into Scary Hours. I know we owe you guys a review shortly, but I think the idea of like GOAT and what that means, and like maybe that term is thrown around too loosely. And then I made the point of saying that I feel like he has to be the GOAT. And I don't think we need to put the caveat of like the GOAT of this era. Like, I just feel like he has to be the GOAT. I know that brought up some debate. So like today on December 8th, as we record this, like what do you feel like was required for Drake or anyone to get that title?
To get the title of GOAT, and I know this has come up a lot, but personally, I feel like you still need like an undeniable classic project. I think people do feel like he has one, but I don't think there's a unanimous like this is it. Because like with Kendrick, everyone says Good Kid, Mad City, Nas, Illmatic, but with Drake, it's like some people are like, oh, it's so far gone, or if you're reading this, it's too late, or nothing was the same, or Take Care, and
Right.
There's like no clear consensus. Maybe that's kind of proof that he has a lot of good projects.
Yeah.
So maybe in a way that's kind of saying he's the GOAT, because he has so much good content. But it's still tough. I think what's holding him back is just he's dabbled into so many different genres and is like so fixated on like the marketing, and I don't want to say gimmicks, but very clear. I think it's very clear to me, at least, that he does everything he can to get the numbers and crowd interested in him. And I think that doesn't sit well with a lot of people, because it's very, like, for instance, on his last album, he had all the hot people this year, Sexy Red, Yeet, all these other folks. And I kind of feel like it's somewhat of a cheat code to like get people looking at him. But then again, the music speaks for itself. So I don't know. It's really tough to say, but I feel like you do kind of need what he's already accomplished, the eyeballs, the numbers, the fan base, but I feel like classic album is also kind of necessary.
And then just to keep, I mean, not playing devil's advocate, but just going along with that same topic, if I was looking at it from your point of view, do you think realistically at this stage in his career that if he hasn't dropped a classic album this many years in, that the classic album is still to come? Because I find that hard to believe that someone's going to drop a, like, I feel like you already have that in your catalog. You know what I mean? Like, I feel usually the classic album is album 1 or 2. It's never album 8, you know?
I don't think so, because to be honest, once you reach his level, like the motivation just is not going to be there. Like,
hunger
I don't
is
care
gone,
who
right?
you are.
Like a certain hunger. Like obviously, I felt like he wants to be the best, but that hunger of like to prove himself, I think, is not going to be there.
I don't think it's humanly possible, because the best art is like when someone's either at their lowest or really trying to prove themselves, and him trying to prove himself, like, it's just not necessary. So we're not going to get a quote unquote classic at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I feel like on the other side of that, though, man, I feel like GOAT is, for me personally, like whatever that term is, I feel like it's all encompassing, right? I feel like, again, there's enough bodies of work that, again, you can never say, maybe besides what, one, like, is there any body of work that you're more than one, you're saying that's trash, right? It's either not a classic or it's still very good, right? Besides like CLB, which I think unanimously is everyone saying that was a waste of time, right? So he has a ton of very good bodies of work. He is the most consistent artist we've ever seen in any fucking generation. He has the numbers to support it. He has a fan base that goes to his tours. He's the most influential, right? And then it's like a counterpoint to the thing you were saying as far as like on this last album having like, you know, the stars of today. But according to Spotify, it's Drake who helps these guys out the most with their numbers, as far as, you know, like I think Yeat's numbers or Tezo's numbers went up like 200% because he got the feature with Drake, right? So I feel like I could think back to even like when Kanye had Lil Wayne and T-Pain on his graduation album, right? That could have been a cheat code, or like it's just a reflection of the times, but it's still a Kanye album through and through, right? I feel like For All the Dogs is still like a Drake album through and through that just so happens to have the most popular people of the time on the album, which I think like we all try to, like, if you go back to most albums, like that usually is the case, right? Because they want it to be a reflection of like what's going on. So I don't know, man. I feel like it's really hard for me to not, I don't like, if it's not him, then who? You know what I mean? Like, someone has to be in that seat. And I don't think there's anyone close because, again, I don't think Kendrick wants it at all. So like I remove him from the debate. And I just, when it comes to just artistry and overall mood, right? Like I love J. Cole, but man, besides a couple recent features he's doing, like, am I ever really checking for him, right? Like, again, I love his album that came out last year, but you know, that's a 2 times you spin through it, then you just move on, right? So I don't know, man. I feel like for all those things, like it's hard for me, like going back to the trip when we were debating, it's like, dude, it's him, bro. Like he's the guy, and it's just really no one else.
Yeah, no, he definitely is the guy. I think it's tough too because it's just so subjective. Like personally, I think J. Cole could out rap Drake, but then if the criteria is like all these different things, Drake is clearly more influential, bigger numbers. So in that instance, I'm inclined to say Drake is above him in the ranking because even though I think J. Cole could out rap him, and I think people also are hesitant to say he's the GOAT, similar to like Eminem, where it's like, oh, he's white, or we don't listen to him right now, so he can't be the GOAT. Whereas with Drake, I think it's the ghostwriting allegations, he's doing pop and singing and he's soft. Like there's so many what's the word I want to use? Like so critiques. Many like superficial reasons for why he can't be the GOAT.
Sure. Yeah, again, it's a great debate. I mean, it can go on forever. But I just look at it almost like just look at your peers, right? Like who else, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like if we have to have if you want to put the caveat of GOAT of this era, like, bro, who else, right? Like there's just no one else, bro. I feel, and again, we've spoken about this a million times, but there's no one even close. And it's just like him and a massive drop off. And then again, we all love Travis Scott. We all enjoy his music, but even him, like we're never even considering, we consider him like almost like a vibe creator as opposed to a rapper to take seriously, right? Like we take the
Right.
music seriously, but we never think of, I mean, at least I don't put words in your mouth, but like I never consider him like, I'm not looking for bars, right? I'm looking for like, all right, what kind of mood is he trying to put us in this time? Like, what's the energy that we should be looking out for?
Right. And for me, I think, I guess an easier way to look at it is whoever you are and whoever you think is a GOAT, like erase them from history. And if like the sound and direction of music is pretty much exactly the same, then they're probably not the GOAT. And I feel like if we remove Drake from history, it looks completely different. If we remove Kanye from history, it's completely different. Some of these other guys, I'm not too sure.
There's a theory to be said there. If we remove Kanye, there probably is no Drake, right? Like,
right. And the thing with Kanye though is like, I think he writes maybe what, like 50% of his raps or something. Like he's just kind of just an artist.
Yeah.
A great, phenomenal artist. So I don't even know like what percent of his, like if you were building a character in a video game or whatever, like what percent is the writing?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, I feel like for GOAT rapper, that shit has to be at least 85% you, bro. And I feel like even 85% is low. That shit probably should be like 98% you.
Right.
But I would say 85% just for the sake of like inspiration from the room or something. All right. So again, that was a good debate that came up on the trip. As far as like giving people more of a understanding if they were to ever go to Medellin or Colombia, what do you think? Because we listened to a lot of different music on this trip. What do you think is the best music suited for a Colombia vacation?
Honestly, I think it really depends on the specific environment you're in at that time.
Okay.
Because in hindsight, I know for mine, we played mostly hip hop on the boat, which was phenomenal.
Which is fire though.
Yeah. But this time I think we switched it up, which was intentional. And the more house Afrobeat type vibe, I think was well suited for, the environment we were navigating through on the boat. And even just, waking up and recovering, listening to K Tronada and all that stuff. I feel like that was perfect and wouldn't have been quite as fitting if we had done something more aggressive in those environments. But at night, like when we put on Dipset and all these other guys, like that was 100% the vibe. I couldn't think of any better thing for those moments.
I agree 100%, dude. I agree 100%. Because even I feel like the club atmosphere requires something, I don't want to say aggressive, but like semi-heavy bass, right? Just to remind you like, yo, this is like, we need to turn up, right? And just like lounging around and vibing is like, that's not the, like, I get it. From the limited of Colombia we've seen in the evening, it feels like those clubs require like, you need to be at a certain energy level. So I feel like in the evening, it has to be like aggressive bass, trap, Latin trap, hip hop, like, because otherwise it just doesn't, I don't know, again, maybe it's where we went, but like it doesn't suit the environment.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. Dude, again, so I highly recommend to everyone, maybe we'll start doing tourist theory and we'll start giving you tips on like what to do on these different countries. I feel like, again, I feel like luckily for us, we're blessed to be traveling a lot. So dude, again, I wanted to thank everyone for the love and support. My guy, you killed it, man. Love you again. Appreciate you for everything at the bachelor party. But cool, man. Let's get into more Drake stuff. So Scary Hours 3 came out, I believe at this point 2 weeks ago. Essentially, it's a deluxe to the For All the Dogs album. So what was it? 5? We'll just say 5 songs. So the extra 5 songs, how did you feel when you were running through them?
For one, I was thinking to myself, why didn't he do this on the album? Like he could have avoided all of this banter about him falling off or not being able to rap and this and that. And maybe it was all intentional to like shut people up and just cause controversy. But personally, I think he could have, whatever amount of songs these were, he could have removed that same amount of his quote unquote worst songs, and then just had like a solid 15, 16 song album. Um, but in terms of bars and everything, obviously had them there, obviously proved he still has it. I hate to continuously make the comparison to Jack Harlow, but it kind of reminded me of Jack Harlow's response to his horrible critiqued second sophomore album, where it's like, okay, now let me prove I can rap. But I do think I was thinking to myself when I finished, like, this is awesome, but personally I don't think it has a ton of replay value.
Really? Have you not?
I think a couple songs.
Since?
I haven't. I only the last one, If You Break My Heart or whatever it's called.
Fuck your ex, dude. I'm so proud of myself for not like forcing people to listen to that song, because drunken me could have played that a million times, bro. But let me pull it up right now. So the bonus tracks, it was 6. Sorry, Red Button, Stories About My Brother, The Shoe Fits, Wickman, Evil Ways, You Broke My Heart. Bro, Stories About My Brother is fire. The Shoe Fits is my favorite out of all 6. Because that one, dude, the way he goes in on like OnlyFans / modern independent women, again, not to be super red pill, but just as an observation, I thought was exceptional, dude. Wickman was just like a fun, again, dude, on a side note, bro, like I've actually had this thought over like the last couple of weeks. Dude, again, Wickman, Stories About My Brother, and multiple songs on this total body of work on the album itself, For All My Dogs, bro, are very aggressive, bro. Like on some like he's a gangster surrounded by goons shit. And I just get nervous, even though I know this guy is a billionaire, tons of protection, but he is also out and about. And I just feel like it gets me uncomfortable when artists are but are very much so talking about that lifestyle, right? Because I'm like, bro, like, are you attracting this shit to you, bro? Like, I feel like, I pray, dude, there's not a bigger Drake fan in this fucking country, bro. But I'm just saying, like, it just feels very uncomfortable at times. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to wake up to no fucking Instagram posts about, my man was lit up, or dude, like, God forbid, bro. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it makes me uncomfortable because I feel like you keep putting that shit out there, you're going to attract it to you. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I feel like we don't need that from him.
Right. No, I agree. And the sad thing is that that's a one-way ticket to legendary GOAT status. If he really wants to be the GOAT, he would be the GOAT for, I know, but like, that's true. If God forbid anything happened to him tomorrow, he's right next to Tupac. Like, there's no other
probably better than Tupac. Like,
because that's a crazy way to go out, like accomplish all this stuff and then disappear. But yeah, it makes me uncomfortable too. I think he still has a chip on his shoulder because he came into the game being like the soft, or being portrayed as the soft, like biracial kid from Canada. And I think over time, when he got clout and aligned more with like actual goons, now he kind of feels more invincible and wants to be hard.
Yeah, dude, there's very much, I feel like that word is like, there's a sense of invincibility that you hear throughout his recent bodies of work. Like, very much so. Like, bro, no one's touching me and I can get you like lit up tomorrow if I wanted to. And I'm like, sure, but why? You know what I mean? Why, bro? You know what I mean? Because I remember, I feel like on Her Loss, I think we had a similar conversation. I gave him a pass. I'm like, no, bro, he's talking like figuratively. Like, no, like that he'll out rap you, and then like this is like, no, I will shoot you, bro. Like, it's just like, okay, all right, man. Like, if you say so.
Yeah, I'm conflicted because, not to say that he doesn't have these ties or does stuff behind the scenes, but it's just really strange knowing how he was 10 years ago, and then now all of a sudden, like, every other bar is like, catching you on sight and whacking your whole crew and all this other stuff. And I'm like, where is this? Like, why are you so angry all of a sudden?
All of a sudden, yeah, dude. Like, where do you get all these enemies out of? Like, and like, again, not like that's one thing. That's why I thought it was like more like a figurative thing, like enemies, like people in the industry who don't like you. This guy's making it seem that he has neighborhoods in America that want to take him out, and I'm like, bro, who are you talking about, bro? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't take it too far and like antagonize the wrong people. I'm
that's what
sure
I'm
none of
saying.
these like rappers are
I
gonna do
think
it, but
that's like
yeah.
where my head was going. Like, bro, you're gonna like feel like you're really that guy, and then someone who really is about that life and has nothing to lose is gonna check him. But again, that's
Mhm.
I hope again that's a thing that I hope we never talk about again. But I would just say so. Wickman, it has that same energy, bro. Evil Ways, I replayed Evil Ways with J. Cole a gazillion times, bro. Like I truly love that song, bro. And then You Broke My Heart is also very good, bro. So I would say, dude, out of these 6 bonuses we got, 4 are very good to me. That I'm telling you, the Shoe Fits, Evil Ways, You Broke My Heart, and Stories About My Brother. Dude, I thought those were, if you put them on with combined with the other 23 songs, those are still like in the top 10 songs for me. So yeah, man, I was very grateful for it. Again, I do think this was calculated because I feel like these songs were already made even when all the criticism was coming, because there was no real like there was no bars here, right? I feel like if it was these songs were new,
Yeah,
they would
like
have had
about
like
Bun or
bars.
something.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was all pre-calculated. Hey, let me just, garner some, attention, whatever, either way, and then I'll just drop this. Bro, he's smart, bro. He keeps the conversation about him. We've been talking about him since the tour. When did you go see him live? Was that July?
I think August and yeah,
Oh,
late August.
okay. The tour was announced probably like in mid-June, right? So essentially since May, June, we've been talking about him. It's about to be the end of the year. Like, dude, this guy's next level, bro. Like, so no, he knows what he's doing, man. But so what would you rate the EP itself, Scary Hours? Like, what would you give it?
Um, for me, I would probably say a solid 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Mainly because it's just personal preference. Like, I
Sure,
think
yeah, yeah.
I'm a bass junkie, unfortunately. So, some of those like more chill beats that like don't have drums and stuff on it, I feel like requires a certain like that's what I would listen to if I'm studying or doing work or something. But I don't know if I would necessarily listen to that in the car or the gym, which is where I particularly listen to most of my music.
Same.
So that's kind of the reason for that.
Yeah, because almost like in a weird way, it's like I like it personally because that part reminds me of old Drake, right? Like it's just like
Mhm.
almost like a slightly up tempo, but not really. Like honestly, it sounds like some like lo-fi shit, but he's like rapping his ass off. So like almost like his voice is like an extra instrument that kind of helps bring it elevated.
Yeah,
But no, I get what you're saying. I would personally give it like I would say 8.8 out of 10. Like I think
nice.
it's if 8 is very good, I think it's slightly above that. I think 9 and 10 is exceptional. I can't give exceptional to an EP. But yeah, man, I feel like him dropping this, bro. No one like, dude, think about the narrative now. The narrative, like, oh, bro, he has this in the chamber. What's next, right? Like
Mhm.
this guy, you can't beat this guy, bro. This guy already has everything lined up, bro. This guy already has like 2027 planned out for him. So, dude, shout
Yeah.
out to him, bro. He's gonna keep winning. And again, we're in a predicament where we're just like, all right, who's next, bro? Like, who else is gonna be the next guy to actually show up? So, yeah, we'll see. But if you guys haven't yet, check out Scary Hours 3, the deluxe for all the dogs. Very, very good album. What next, my G? What did we say we talk about? The Diddy fallout. So if you guys haven't learned over the last 3.5 weeks, Diddy's been in the news every single day. This all started when Cassie, his former girlfriend, we will say, right? Former girlfriend,
Yep.
accused him of rape and other sexual harassment and sexual abuse charges. They settled out of court for allegedly $50 million, or at least that amount. And then since then, there's been multiple accusations made against him from other people. He's since has stepped down temporarily as of now from Revolt TV, as well as his other deals with, I think, with like Diageo liquor and other things. So a very interesting time. He did come out on December 6th and made a statement saying that he does not all the things coming out are complete bullshit, and he he's done staying silent. So your thoughts on just how all these things are playing out?
I mean, to be honest, I can't say I was super surprised. I think Diddy's always kind of had an off vibe to me. He just seems very uh narcissistic and manipulative. He just gives off that vibe for some reason. Versus other powerful people, I don't know. Diddy just seems like someone who wants to take advantage of people, like business wise, physically, like everything. So
He
I
gives
can't
that
even
vibe.
say I'm super. Um, in terms of the settlement, though, like I personally believe her. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, why'd you take the money and why'd you take so long and all this stuff." I think it's a horrible argument because one, at the time these things allegedly happened, uh, she was probably feeling hopeless, like didn't have much money. If she came out and like this didn't go her way, like she's done. Whereas now, I think she has a loving husband and whole new life. So it's like there's virtually no risk in coming out with this information. And on top of that, it's a civil suit. So there is nothing. She can't put him in behind bars
Right.
at this point unless there's concrete evidence. And the next best thing is to hurt someone's pockets. 50, I don't care who you are, $50 million is not, or whatever it is not, chump change to where you're like, yeah, like, have it, please. So I think in her mind, it's like, let me come out with my story, hurt his pockets, and then make it known that he's this type of person, and maybe I'll empower other people to come out. And I think people are just so quick to I think the red pill like train of thought is so popular that we assume if any woman is wronged, like it has to be a
Money
lie.
grab.
Yeah, money grab. So good for her. I hope in this day and age, more powerful men will think twice about being weirdos. But the freak off stuff and all that stuff, I mean, if that was consensual, like, more power to them.
Yeah.
But everything else sounded very
wild
and sadistic.
Yeah. Like from what it read, and this is the reports that she allegedly claimed, right? Because we don't know shit. And I don't want this page to be taken down. But the alleged claims are pretty insane, right? But they all read like a very powerful man who has no fear of any repercussions, right? I feel like that is what comes through the most. Dude, but I feel like I get what you're saying about the whole red pill thing, and people assume, oh, she took the money, she just wanted a money grab. This probably never happened, or if it did, it wasn't to that extent. Do you think though, like, because what I'm reading in most comments is that most people actually feel like he did this shit. So do you feel like that people are more lean like 50-50 on this, or they actually think that he did this shit?
I think people think he did it for the most part, like are leaning towards it, almost like the same proportion as the people who think OJ did it. But I think they simply don't care. I think what it is
yes,
we're like, okay, Cassie's rich still, or richer than me and you and everyone we know. These are celebrities we don't know personally. So I think people just don't care. Like even if they think she was victimized, it for whatever reason, people are not going to sympathize with someone who they think is better off, because the average person thinks if they had 100 million, their problems would be solved. So I think they're like, yeah, he probably did it. Yeah, she's probably victimized, but who am I to give a fuck? I have bills to pay. I have wife issues, daddy issues, whatever. And I think that's ultimately where the average person's mindset is.
Dude, I agree. I think a lot of people just don't care, right? Like I think, but yeah, I do think the sentiment is like a lot of people think he did it. But yeah, you're right. I think most people just don't care. They're like, yeah, dude, we've been known this, right? I feel like there's always like that like unwritten or unspoken thinking, like hip hop culture, like a lot of shit, like the R. Kelly shit, right? Like dude, those rumors were around for a decade, bro. And then it was when finally like 6 or 7 women started coming out, then it became like a whole ordeal, and we were all like, oh my God. Yeah. But bro, we've been known about these rumors, bro. Like there was a whole fucking Dave Chappelle made a sketch on Comedy Central, like depicting it, and R. Kelly was in his mansion vibing, like who gives a fuck, right? So
Right.
yeah, it's very odd, bro. Like again, it's very odd, but I forget again, we've never been in this position before, but it makes it feel like when the people are in that seat, and that seat being like this alpha male gazillionaire, it just seems like they get away with so much shit because no one's really there to reprimand them, right? And I guess like all you have around you is yes men, because again, they're trying to get that cut, right? So they're not going to say anything to you to fuck up their bag either. But it's very odd. I do feel there's less of it, or maybe people are better about hiding it than before since like the whole Me Too movement. But it feels very odd, because this feels very much of like this like what was going on like what 3 years ago with like the whole massive like Me Too movement. I felt like, not that it went away, but I just thought a lot of men got better about it, and it feels like that's not the case.
I agree. And granted, a lot of this stuff happened in years when like there wasn't social media and you could pretty much get away with anything, because it was either you go to like NBC News or shut the fuck up. There was no like in between. Whereas now you could send out a quick little tweet and the entire planet knows within 24 hours. So I'm hoping with the way things are going, men will think twice about, victimizing random women just because they have money and think
because
they can. But who knows? I'm sure like more and more stuff will come out about other people with time, but I highly doubt the same treatment R. Kelly got, where like people pretty much banned his music, is gonna happen to Diddy, because it's like one claim, people I feel like don't really care, and
yeah,
once you're someone who's done enough for the culture, like in a positive way, then people are willing to kind of look the other way.
Okay, because that was gonna be my follow-up. So what do you think happens, like when we're sitting here doing a recap of 2024? Where do you think Diddy is? Like, is this just like a 2-month like blip, and he just goes away and then he's back to being Diddy? Like, how do you think this ends for him?
I think come like mid next year, people are gonna kind of forget. They're gonna poke at him, and this is I think forever gonna be a running, I don't want to say running joke, but somewhat of that, where like no matter what he does, you're always gonna see it in the comments, kind of like with Chris Brown or whoever else. But unless more and more like prominent women come out and there's concrete evidence and things like that, like I don't see him necessarily being like pushed out of the scene, because there's if people are already debating on whether or not it was a money grab, like I don't see it getting any better unless someone has a footage or a doctor comes out with like concrete proof or something.
Yeah, dude. So I struggle with this. I'll just go the opposite way just for the sake of like the pod. But I struggle with this a bit, bro, because again, it does feel like it is mounting, right? It went from Cassie's thing to other people, and then now the sponsors, or some sponsors, and the networks, and Diageo is one of the biggest biggest brands in the world, and they pulled away from him as well. So in a weird way, bro, like I think the public makes the public makes like reasoning on certain people based off like the impact they have on their lives, right? So I get that he has debt with the culture for what he's done for the last 30 years probably, right? But recently, what music does he give us, right? Like what does Diddy do for us today? Nothing, bro. Like you think about it, like what is Diddy, like I get he had that hot song with Bryson Tiller this year, but okay, bro, that came out of the blue. Like really no one's checking for Diddy's music. Diddy is almost allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants in hip hop, and like, yo, it's Diddy, it's Uncle Love, Brother Love, like, bro, he's been around forever, but he still looks young, blah, blah, blah. Let him dance, let him dress up in costumes. But now we're being told as a public on a nationwide level, hey, he actually is those crazy things you've been thinking about. I do feel people are going to pause to embrace him the same way. And then he really, again, dude, I'm not sure, not that he's skillless, but dude, a lot of his money is generated on what he can promote and what brands can fuck with him, right?
Right, right.
So
That is
he
true.
can't do that anymore because brands are going to want to touch him. Dude, I see a weird way he almost becomes like the Russell Simmons of like the next those next like moguls that just like, dude, Russell Simmons in fucking Thailand doing yoga and cannot come back to
Yeah.
America. Like, I'm not saying they're about to extract this guy somewhere else, but dude, I can see Diddy in a year, bro, just not being in the scene at all because, bro, at the end of the day, like, dude, we're not checking for Diddy's songs, bro. We're checking for what is Diddy promoting. And if he's not really allowed to promote shit because no one's gonna touch him, bro, I can see him just going away for a while. Like, I don't think this is gonna be like a 2-3 months, like, all right, man, just chill, like, oh, Travis Scott, like, just chill at home, you're fine, you're rich. I think this is gonna start hurting his pockets in a big way because no one's really gonna want Diddy to be the face of their brands.
That is a good point. Yeah, because he's not really. I think people forget when you make hits and all that stuff. Like when you're doing stuff that the public can consume and enjoy for, endless periods of time. But if all we get from him is like a random liquor here and there or
Right.
some other thing, then I do agree that he's definitely gonna be put in a weird position where he can't really
Yeah.
do a whole lot.
You can't do a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, you're dependent on public opinion when you become the face of these brands, and the public's not fucking with you. Again, it might go away as far as the public just what's the next big story, sure. But I think for you to come back and us to want to buy a fucking bottle of Ciroc seltzer, you know what I mean, bro? I can't think you're the same guy who rapes women, bro. Like I can't
Yeah.
like that's not gonna work. So yeah, dude, it'll be very interesting, man, because dude, he's been a staple in hip hop culture, bro, since dude. The first CD I ever bought was the Can't Hold Me Down single.
Yeah.
6 years old, bro. So, dude, he said he's been around for what, 35, 40 years in hip hop? So, that's pretty wild. Again, as we get older, you start seeing these people, again, for whatever reason, just start changing. It's crazy to think a hip hop world with Diddy just isn't around.
Yeah. And I think it's just another lesson that, we shouldn't treat these idols or idolize these celebrities too much because we really don't know who they are as people behind the scenes. That's not to say any of us are perfect and holy all the time, but I think these guys take it to the extreme and they have a tendency to treat people as inferior and like pieces of shit. So that's why I personally never put too much weight into these artists and like pick and choose, who's and defend them to the end.
Right.
Without
you
like
we don't fucking know.
Right.
But to your point though, I think 2 episodes ago when the Matthew Perry passed away, Chandler from Friends, you don't have to idolize them, but again, these people are also a part of your life on like such a subconscious level because they've been around forever that when they do pass away, it still affects you in a real way. But again, you don't have to defend every part of their life because again, dude, they're all human, bro. We're all gonna make mistakes. Again, I don't think Diddy's an evil person by any means, but again, these allegations are pretty wild that I do think there's going to be repercussions for someone who is dependent on public acceptance for most of his income. You know what I mean? So
100%.
But yeah, dude, he's not going to go broke tomorrow, bro. There's not going to be like an MC Hammer story on Diddy. But
yeah,
like you said, dude, $50 million is $50 million, bro. Like, that's hurting.
Just not going to be antagonizing people on Instagram Live and, hugging Fabulous and French Montana, pretending like life is all, dandy and rosy.
Correct. But yeah, man, shout out to everyone involved, bro. Again, that's a terrible story. Again, if there are more victims, hopefully they get the justice as well. And yeah, man, we'll just see how that one plays out. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see a year from today on episode 200 and whatever, where we stand with him. But all right, broski, is there any one topic you wanted to bring up before we move on to some music?
No, we could head into some music.
All right, we're getting some music. We're getting some Heat of the Week. Before we get to Heat of the Week in a second, real quick, I do want to let the audience know this will be our second to last episode of the year. So we're going to do one more episode. It's going to be a full 2023 recap, highs and lows, and what we predict is going to happen in 2024. So look out for that. But yeah, second to last episode, episode 162 will be the last episode of the year. But back to episode 161, Heat of the Week. My guy, what's the song for you?
So before the trip, Fetty Wap actually dropped an album.
Before my mind was blown in Medellin, it was this song, but
and it was the perfect vibe. So the song's called Outside, which is very fitting. He's just talking about, being outside, top down, penthouses, whatever. Very nice vibe. Fetty Wap's an artist that I always liked, and unfortunately, kind of has one of the more major fall off stories. But I personally think he still has the talent. Sounds like kind of the industry kind of just turned their back on him, but 100%. Several replayable tracks on the album. Super nice vibe.
Oh, it's an album. Okay, so
yep.
Wait, but the song itself is Outside, right?
The song itself is Outside. Okay. I think I may have played it once during the trip.
Okay.
But it has a nice guitar, like acoustic guitar in the background, a lot of bass, super smooth hook. Amazing vocals and just vibe overall, and I listened to it several times. So I think he's in jail right now, if I'm not mistaken, but in any case, I think he's one of the artists I would love to see make a comeback. But amazing song.
All right, dude. Damn, that's high praise from you, bro. So I'm gonna peep that one on my workout tomorrow. Bro, I'm gonna go with a song that I sent you that has, this one probably is a song that's appropriate when you're vibing in the club scenes or walking the streets of Medellin. This is called Hey More, Ozuna featuring Fied. Great song, bro. Great vibes. It's just about being out there and being blown away by what you're seeing, and then when you go back to reality, you're like, this ain't it. So it is a full Spanish song, so get your Google Translator out. But Hey More is my Heat of the Week, bro. I've been listening. I'm telling you, I was listening to that song at the gym. I was this is it. Okay.
I'll have to make sure I'm in the right mindset to hear it. Given
correct. It can't be just like you're working and you're like, no, I can't. No, it's definitely either a club song or a gym song, but definitely a good song. So definitely go peep Hey More by Ozuna. Came out a year ago, bro. So wild that I just heard it for the first time. But cool, man. So episode 161 in the books. Again, one more episode left before the year's over. My guy, let the people know we got going on. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Catch us at audio-theory.com. New episode every week, unless we're in Colombia or on holiday. Be sure to, if you're on YouTube, be sure to check below for the merch we have available. We also have the Spotify and Apple Music Heat of the Week playlist on the website, so be sure to peep that. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, purchase a one-way ticket to Medellin, and tune in next time.
Till next time. Love you, my dude. Appreciate you.
Love you too. Peace. Likewise.